Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our new This Is Us discussion. And let's be real here to kick things off. We spent a good, 13 minutes
Oh my
discussing the
goodness.
photo in this past video. And
Yep.
there's still a lot to dive into, I'm sure, with it. If you haven't watched our reaction or review to this past installment, go take a look at that. But here, we're going to talk mostly about Kevin and Madison because they've really progressed a lot over these first, few episodes of the season.
Yeah, and that final scene of this last episode with the two of them in the garage was really important. And because of everything that was going on with that picture in our review, we thought that it would be good to come on here and talk to you guys a little bit further about sort of where they are now in their relationship, some of the stuff that they talked about, and what does this actually mean? Like, now that we're here, do we actually see them lasting and getting to that point where we see Kevin with the wedding ring? Could it actually be Madison now?
I think it's certainly an exciting thing to think about. I'm more optimistic now than I certainly was at the end of last season about it. Before we get into this, though, if you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe and also check out our Instagram. It is Matt and Jess TV. And why? Because this is us on Instagram. You are welcome. That is a terrible joke. I will not make it again.
But it's totally true. Like, if you guys want to kind of get to know us, we don't share a lot of stuff about us personally on here, but more of our personal sort of like pictures of our dog and our cat and all the stuff that we're doing. If you want to get to know This Is Us a little bit better, our Instagram is the best place to follow us.
That's right. We're both rolling with the joke.
That's right.
Okay, so
All right, so we'll jump into sort of that last conversation where, we saw the two of them. They are basically strangers. They have, throughout the years, obviously run into each other because of both of their relationships with Kate. And they've been very sort of just raw and stripped back with each other because they had nothing invested in each other. Now they do. Now they have twins coming. And it was very stripped back again to have these two sort of have this type of conversation where she's sharing about her eating disorder and why things are so hard for her, where he's walking around basically looking like an Adonis all the time and shirtless and all of this. I think it's really important. Part of the conversation was about Kevin and Kevin opening up about his own body image, because this has been going on since season 1 when he was in the Manny and they were always like, oh, well, just take off your shirt. And he was like, man, listen, there's more in me. I can give more. And it's not just about this. I can give you more. And they're like, nah, just take off your shirt. So he's been having these self-body image issues since we met him, but they've only touched on it very small until this episode where he really pulled back and was like, yeah, this is my currency. Like, once my body goes, like, what am I? I'm just useless. Like, I feel a pressure on me to have to look like this all the time. And it's very difficult for me.
it was a great way, I think, to peel back the curtain on these two a little bit. And I think what I really liked about it, and this is sort of the greatness of This Is Us, is nothing really constitutes a surprise because we know about Kevin's body image issues. We know about everything that Madison has gone through with her eating disorder. They've been brought up before, but yet there's something that is surprising and just so significant about seeing the two of them, like you said, these two relative strangers come together and sort of relate to each other and understand each other. And because we haven't really seen either one of them vocalize these things to someone else in this kind of setting, I think it does create this deeper bond where, like a lot of you, we're suddenly like, could these two actually find a way to make this work now?
Yeah, and I found it kind of interesting too, of sort of the leapfrog of how we've got to Kevin and his body issues, because it started with Kate and Kate going to meetings where she met Madison and saw, thinner Madison being like, oh, and what are your issues kind of thing. And then now we have Madison who's kind of like, oh, you're an Adonis, what are your issues? To then have him be like, this is what they are. Like, I'm almost 40 and, I'm playing a lawyer that has to take my shirt off. Like, I'm at an age now that my body is going to start breaking down, as everybody's does when you get older, and my currency is going to be gone. So what am I left with? Because nobody takes me seriously for anything else.
And I think this is sort of an awakening for Kevin, where it's a situation, and I think a lot of us have been through this, where we sort of know something about ourselves or that we're struggling with, but when you actually say it out loud to someone else, I think it puts it in a greater perspective, where you think more of, okay, I need to start acting on this. And it sounds like, based on the little teases that we've got, that there might be some friction between Kevin and a new director he has coming up. Maybe this is going to be a part of it to some degree, where maybe this conversation with Madison inspires him to sort of open up and challenge these sort of preconceived notions about him.
Yeah, and I think he needs to start having those conversations and those talks, because if he does want to go into this sort of, his 50s, 60s, 70s and continue to work, he can't just be dependent on what he looks like. And directors can't be dependent on it either. They have to actually start to look at Kevin the person. What can Kevin the actor give, and not just Kevin the body give? And is there anything deeper there? So Kevin's been getting some good material this season already.
He is. Madison certainly is. And, I'll throw my theory out into the universe on this, because I don't know if Kevin and Madison are going to be together long term. And I'm not going to even try to predict that right now. But I would be shocked if This Is Us moves away from continuing to deepen this relationship, at least through the first half of this season, because I feel like they really want us to believe in the idea that Kevin and Madison could work. And yeah, maybe they will pull the rug out from under us and just depress a lot of people at that point, but I think they want to show that they're going to give it a try.
I think that this relationship, I'm not willing to weigh in if I think that she's going to end up being the person he's actually married to all the way. I've been sort of on the train that I think that they are going to be a relationship that is going to be an incredibly huge building block for both of them just in life. That they're going to end up developing something that's really deep, that they're going to be able to move into co-parenting, which is something that this show hasn't really dealt with yet. And this is a show about family dynamics and different family relationships. And to end up having, Beth and Randall, they're in a perfect relationship, and they've got their kids and everything's great. And then we have Kate and Toby over here and everything's going great for them. Oh, let's also just give Kevin and Sophie together and their high school sweethearts and everything's a big heart over here. That it's just not realistic. And this show has been really rooted in reality and showing different dynamics of relationships. So I do think we're going to get more of these two getting to know each other. Now they've had this much deeper breakthrough with the two of them just really getting to know some of the darker stuff, deeper stuff. And it's something that they can bond over because they're both having similar issues. So they can now deal with eating in general together, of how that's going to work out so that she doesn't feel bad and he doesn't feel bad.
I think it's a good way to sort of bring them together before you find ways to cause, even if it's intentional or not, some friction between the two of them. Because I think one of the things I'm the most worried about, and they've sort of only scratched the surface with this, is that Kevin probably hasn't been working all that much during the health crisis, so he probably hasn't been away all that often, but he's going to start being away more for a job. That leads to, of course, more press, more publicity. Madison is, by and large, a normal person, and other than, one person coming up to Kevin on the street, that's a lot for anybody to deal with, to be tied to this famous person, where she's probably going to have to deal with a lot of garbage from, Kevin Pearson fans who are out there. We've seen this in the celebrity world all the time.
Yeah, and it also then puts Madison in a tough spot, too, because once the babies are born and he's gone a lot, now she's kind of on her own during, if there's, a big block, let's say Kevin's next job is in Brazil or something, then he's not going to be around for 3 months and she's just going to be by herself for 3 months. And that might not have been what she was sort of signing up for, because at the beginning she was kind of I'm going to do this on my own. And then it's different to be no, I'm also going to be here with you. Okay, cool. And then I'll see you in 3 months kind of thing. And then she's like, okay, I I started this where I was like, I was okay on my own, and then I got used to this idea that you were here.
And it's also much messier because, Madison and Kate are so close, and I'm sure Kate can be a support system if Kevin is away and all of that, but if things get tough, then Kate is in, again, another position where she feels like she has to pick a side. She's already in this situation with Randall and Kevin.
Yep.
Can Kate catch a break? Probably not, because they're probably going to do something terrible to her with this adoption storyline.
Oh, for sure. No, I really think that these two are going to have an actual relationship for this season at least. I do. I think they're really going to put what they can into it. They don't know each other that well, so they are still sort of in this beginning phase of getting to know you where you're gonna, start to fall a little deeper and get a little further. So I don't see a lot of trouble coming ahead, but I see a lot of just getting to know each other, growing pains, which is more minor stuff.
I'm excited to see what happens. We have a new episode coming very, very soon, so be on the lookout for more discussions, of course, and subscribe to the channel so you don't want to miss any of them, right?
Absolutely. It's the best way to make sure that you don't miss any of our updates.
If you do want to support us more, we have our store. We also have our Patreon, so be sure to check that stuff out. Thank you guys for watching, as always, and we'll see you here next time.